Welcome to Season 3 of the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, where language learning meets innovation, culture, and pedagogy. I'm Mike, your host, and together we'll explore groundbreaking strategies, challenge traditional methods, and empower educators and learners alike. My wonderful listeners, welcome back to part 2 of this great episode with Milos Radulovic. In this episode, we're going to just keep exploring a little bit more on methodologies in different types of strategies and the way that actually this teacher actually does his job in China. He's actually sharing a lot of his experience and all what he has learned. And if you really enjoy part 1, you will definitely love part 2. He will keep sharing a lot more. He will give a lot of advices as well. And as teachers, we never stop learning. So listening to another teacher is always good, and it's always best for us as teachers in our career. That's what we gotta do. Listen and learn. So without further ado, let's keep going with the part 2, and I hope you really enjoy this one. All right, let's get started.
Students, they need to believe you, they need to follow you, right? Because you are, in the end, of course, you are like their role model. I would like to say even that. Yes, of
Exactly,
course.
you're the
Leader.
guide. Yeah.
You're the guide. Yeah, you need to show them the way, the pathway, right?
Exactly.
And they need to believe, even that if they maybe don't want that or they don't feel very, like they need to trust you. They need to trust you in this kind of process. And after that, they will be very, but that's another thing. When the students can see that you're very passionate about the subject, probably something they realize, hey, you can find like, oh, they start to like this topic. They start to be interesting.
Exactly.
This actually can be very useful for us. Like you said, they become like more self-independent learner. Also in that process, they become like very creative, critical thinking. That's another skill that you start to implement in
Exactly.
them.
Yes.
Because it's all about the skills in them. You want them not just to learn about the knowledge, you want them
Use it.
to use this kind of skill to unlock. Maybe I would like to say
Exactly.
we all have these kind of skills, but we just need to unlock.
Unlock it.
We
Yeah,
just need
exactly.
to find these skills inside of us. And
I
this
like
is the
it.
perfect age for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying, and yes, as teachers, you're actually a pretty good example over there of how to develop a really good class there. Now, you were mentioning something that it was that comes to my attention as well. This is about the students that you want the kids, students to feel like their value or something like, like they feel the appreciation of the teacher. So
Yeah.
you are telling me that emotions play a really important role in education.
Mhm.
How do
Yes.
you actually, in this case, control that? How do you leverage the emotions to understanding and retention and the whole class? How do you do it then?
This is a really good question. I didn't really think about this one.
Well,
About
the thing
this
is that
emotion.
exactly because you were
Mhm.
actually telling that you have to control the students and you actually make them participate,
Yes.
active learners. They construct
Yes.
their own learning process. So it's constructivism. So in order to apply
Mm.
that, you need to also put a little bit of emotions there, right? Because you're the guide,
Yes,
you're
absolutely.
guiding them. So how do you do that? I mean, how do you control or how do you leverage those emotions to
Yeah,
enhance
it's
understanding and retention?
mhm. I think for us, for teachers, it's all about the balance that you want to keep. Like for me, uh, of course, everyone know their roles. I'm your teacher, you're my student. That's good. But I also start to build something between that, like you said, and that kind of chemistry, right? I
Exactly.
also like to talk with my students about other stuff. Sometimes there is even time they like to ask some other question. for example, and for like tourism, like like about the traveling, right, or this kind of stuff, something that they want to know something more about you, but it's an okay, decent kind of
It's
normal
true.
kind of question,
Yeah.
and you that's kind of like, let's say, maybe like a small talk or something like that, and you like to, and or like I like to talk, like with my students, even doesn't need to be only related to my subject. But another thing also can be sometimes I like to comment on them. Like sometimes I try to use some jokes. Like sometimes I
Mm,
try to use the jokes, but to be I don't want them to be offended or anything like that. I
of
need to be very
course.
careful, like you said. For us, it's
Exactly.
always that kind of like a balance all the time. You can relax a little bit with your students, of course. I don't want to be, I'm not like, I don't want to be like kind of like their nightmare or anything like that. Like you want to relax with them,
Exactly. Yeah.
but also at the same time, you need to, how to say, like pull back. Like, okay, we go,
Exactly.
we drive with the car, we use sometimes the high speed, but okay, wait a minute, let's little pull back. Like, okay, just slow
Yeah,
down
yeah, yeah.
now. Let's
Let's
back to,
let's
like
push the
it's kind of like
brake.
that kind of
Yes.
push the brake, exactly. That's what. So it's all about that kind of like a balance. And you can, like I said, you can talk with them as a friend. Yes, as a friend, you can talk with them. You can relax them. You can tell them like, hey, don't worry about this. We will do this. We will do that. I actually always like to explain things, what it will happen next. I want
Exactly.
my students to know about that. We have a great communication here, and it's kind of normal here
I think communication is really
at my school.
important.
Very important. For example, we have the WeChat group, our WeChat group for only our class.
Got it.
And my school is really focused on the quality, not quantity. I have very small group of students, and it's kind of easier because I have like just 4 students for AS and
Mm.
another 4 students for A2. It's a small
Ooh,
group, and they choose
not bad. That's
geography.
pretty
As you know,
good.
yeah, geography is not that popular as some other subjects like a maths or physics. So WeChat also help us for the daily communication, but what is very important, that live kind of like a face-to-face communication to have with them. Another example
Socialize
as
in a
well,
different
like
way.
socializing in different way. I can see some of them, they like more. There's one of the students they really like about the settlement. I like to talk and what is good about geography, sometimes you can use examples based
Real
on your
life.
experience. The
Exactly.
real life
Real life
experience, yeah,
examples.
exactly. Like when you talk about the tourism, you can use like where you've been, where you travel, what kind of things you learn over there, about the settlement, about migration and all that. Then I also have a student who like about the rocks. He's very passionate about that. He even bring today the samples of the rocks. I also bring the samples of the rocks to them, the real samples. And we also do this kind of activity. I bring them the real samples of the rocks and minerals, and they need to write down over their characteristics. Like
Got it.
what is the color, the shape, location of the where you can find that rock, what is the shape of that rock, what is the texture, what is the type, and etc. So it's chemistry very important to build that kind of chemistry with them and to balance
Exactly.
at the same time. So this is something that I think the emotional intelligent people can kind
Yeah,
of like
exactly.
really control this. Yeah,
Emotional
we got
intelligence.
to that one. Yeah, emotional intelligence. And I think someone told me before that I have this kind of like I can understand people. Maybe I have that kind of ability. But I think for us, for teachers, we need to read between the lines.
A
Like
lot.
we need to read
Yeah,
between the lines
totally.
a
And
lot.
yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
What you're telling over there is totally true. As a teacher, yeah, and you're actually sharing something that is true. And for sure the audience
Yeah.
know about it because most of the audience, let's say all the audience is basically teachers and
Mhm.
administrators and principal. For sure they all agree about that. For sure. I mean, it is like that. So you gotta
Yes.
actually keep doing that, like having the feeling, create that bond, but always, you know, here's the boundaries.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm the teacher, I'm the leader, I
Yeah.
need to guide you, but okay, let's not cross that, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's very important because we don't want to go from extreme to extreme. Yes. So this is something that we must to have in the classroom, but also in the real life, in the life as itself.
True.
Actually, when you mention about when we talk about the value and all this kind of stuff, I also like to separate rules from the values.
Mm,
Like there's like class rules and there is the class values. These two different kind of
Exactly.
things, right? Rules, classroom rules, so of course it's kind of based on, like every school have this kind of classroom rules. And we already know about these kind of classroom rules. It's kind of like very common in most of the schools, right? So you don't really
Yes.
need to create something specifically new about that one, right? Listen to your teacher, don't sleep, pay attention, like this kind of stuff, do your homework and etc. But the
Yeah.
values is something that we need to build together. And that's what I told my students in the very beginning when we start just to know each other. Always the
But
first
but
class is like that. Just, uh-huh.
but
Yeah,
where
yeah.
do the values come from? The values are actually set in a classroom or they come from home?
This is a good question. Yeah, I think it need to be both, I would like to say, probably.
Okay.
Because it's really, you can see, like, of course, family background is very important. And I think the very good family background can create that kind of values. And you can
Exactly.
see, you can notice these students, what is about their family background. You can really, really notice that. But of course,
Exactly.
you as a teacher, in that classroom, you start to create some kind of values. Like
Yes.
there is like if we said like and these values we need to sometimes I look this kind of for example I like to use this kind of jokes. I like to confuse them, but also I use this kind of metacognition to like I want them to think. For example, when I saw some of them maybe want to eat during my class or want to sleep, I said, you know what, how about if I start to sleep right now? How do you feel about that? Like I
Mhm.
try to, like, or and sometimes even use a joke. Okay, I will sleep right now and you will wake me up. Like wow, they're confused. They're like in shock. You try
Yeah,
to use these
exactly.
kind of things to see like in this kind of way, hey, this is wrong. This is wrong. And you know about that. I just want to remind you this is wrong. So let's create some values. Let's respect each other. And always I
Okay.
told them this, like this is not just to respect me as a teacher, this is to respect each other, to respect your classmate
The whole
as well.
classroom.
To
Exactly.
respect
The
and
whole
then of
classroom.
course the whole class, the respect of course the whole school too. So we need to build that kind of value. Sometimes
The
it's not
community.
easy, can be a challenge, especially
Exactly.
for the G1 students because they just do that kind of transformation from the middle school. Some of them they even come from maybe public middle schools and they need now to go to the high school, international high school. So it's completely
It's
different
a
kind of
different
environment.
stuff. Exactly.
Is different. Of course, you need to be careful. You need, as you said, that's emotional intelligence. You need to find the way how you will approach them. That's also another thing. And always the first lesson is about that. Like they want to know you. Who are you in that, right? So if it's kind of introduction on me, but in the end, it's also introduction about themselves as well. And I usually like to break the ice with some kind of interesting activity, right?
Got
Something
it.
that can be part of of course, of the topic because I want them to enjoy as much as they can, right? Sometimes, of course, we don't
Exactly.
have really. Sometimes it can be a challenge to really create every lesson to be super cool for them and for me. But you try your best as much as you can.
We gotta be
You want
realistic.
them to find that passion
Yeah.
because you already have it. It's kind of like this, like you have a torch and you want to give that torch to another kind of like a
Yes.
student to follow you,
True.
something like that.
You know,
Yeah.
I like that what you just said because actually not most I gotta say I'm not gonna say all of them, but most principles or maybe the law itself, the education law and all that, the policies, they believe that the teacher must be the almost like have a different activity for every single thing. I mean, all the creation must be here, everything is there.
Hmm.
But no, it's not like that. I mean, sometimes we're also human, we're always trying to do the
Yeah.
best. There are days that we're gonna have a really good lesson. There are days that we're
Yeah.
gonna have not so good lesson. There are
Yeah.
days where the kids, sometimes I see, for example, school being very strict
Hmm.
on lesson planning. And I've noticed that most of those, they are actually expecting to do exactly as what the paper says.
Mm.
I don't know if you've found that or if you've
Yeah.
encountered such situation, but it's like, okay, let's put them into perspective. You're gonna write your lesson plan. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
The lesson plan is a beautiful piece of paper with a whole bunch of activities.
Mm,
very creative, and you actually planning something like, wow, beautiful. But suddenly,
mm,
the class of the day come, and what happens? One of the students is not feeling so good. So that means that student will not pay
yeah.
attention. But the other students are not feeling good at all because of this or different situations at home or because they're tired or because of other subjects. So how do you do that when it's about planning now? How do you control that?
Yeah. Hmm. About this kind of stuff, yeah, this kind of technical stuff, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
important. It's a part of your work and
Technicality,
all
yeah.
that. Technicality, yeah, exactly. Like yeah, you need to. It's very important, of course, to organize every day about the lessons and all these kind of things. To have lesson plan, to know exactly. But here, like at this school and here in Beijing, like. Uh, Everything is kind of like very well organized. So basically, I just need to follow that. And also students at the same time also need to follow. For example, we have this, like we have the calendar for the semester, for each
Hmm.
semester. And
Yeah.
basically you can see every week what we will do over there. So the students already knew what they will do every single week. And every single week we separate, right? If there is like new topic, is there is like review, revision, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, like vocabulary, like some like a new terms.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have to practice the pace papers. And then, of course, the time when is the exams, right? So they know exactly which week what it will happen. And this also helps us, like teachers, and also students as well. This is very important thing because preparation is everything. Preparation is everything when you start to when you want to have your lesson and when you want to have a good lesson, you need really to prepare. You need to know exactly what you will going to do during that time, and you can sometimes
Yes.
separate that in different kind of like a periods because we have like 45 minutes
Hmm.
and sometimes you can do a lot of things in 45
Of
minutes.
course.
Uh, Sometimes I
If the
use
topics
only
helps
different
you,
kind
of
of,
course.
and topic, of course, can help you as well. Sometimes in 45 minutes, I can do, for example, we do review 5 or 10 minutes, and then we watch some video and we discuss about the video. Then we use another activity. For example, I like that matching activity, like
Mm.
key terms and definitions, and they need to match
Go.
that.
That's a really
I
good.
cut piece of papers of that, and they need to do that. And then in the end, we can have maybe quiz time. All that kind of things you can do in 45 minutes if you very well organize all that. So that's a lot of
Exactly.
things in
True.
45 minutes. And with the review, usually this kind of can be for the review, and you want them to more participate in the lesson. And that's very important. Like you said, when you're back to that one, if some students feel boring and all that kind of
Eh,
things,
because that happened. We gotta know that.
that's happened. That's happened. But what is very important, you need to wake them up. You need to give them something to do. And I always believe in this. Like I'm not and I don't really believe like, okay, but let's say about the homework.
Mm.
I'm not the teacher who will give them a lot of homeworks to do on the weekend. Very rarely. So for me, most of the time during the lesson, there is a lot of activities, a lot of different kind of activities, as I mentioned. So many of them can be a quiz time, can be watching documentary, can be mind mapping, can be like collective memory. Oh, we didn't mention that. That's also another thing as well. So it can be
Yes.
so many things, so many different kind of activities. And that's also part of the homework as well, when they do all this kind of stuff. And we mark them, we pay attention who put the effort in all that. But homework, why for me homework can be important? Not that much about like how they will do the homework. It's
Yeah.
actually homework is for me, it's about responsibility.
It is.
So I want to test their responsibility, and in the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, I'll maybe inform them, oh, please finish your homework and all that. But then later, I just let them to see, okay, who will really be responsible? Who will finish their homework at time? And who will not do
Exactly.
that one, right? So you want to task them, you want to challenge them with the homework. For me, that's very important thing. Other stuff is try to do as much as we can during the lesson time. But many times I told them, guys, We will try to do the best we can during the lesson time. But learning is also before and after the lesson. Learning is the whole time. Is the
Learning
whole
is
process.
exactly. It's not only inside the
Yeah.
classroom. Learning actually
Not
happens
inside
outside,
the
inside,
classroom.
everywhere.
Inside, yeah, in everywhere. Like, and try to be more independent, especially for G1 can be kind of like a sometimes hard, like they can use like, for example, dictionary over there, like Oxford Dictionary about the words. But many times I told them, guys, especially in geography, we have so many terms that you cannot really find even in that kind of dictionary, which is good. So you need to already become like independent. Okay, what this word means and how. And
Exactly.
especially that time when the exam when we start to have exam, like maybe like actually 1 week or 2 weeks before exam, I want to stimulate. I want to do kind of like a like simulation of the exam. So basically, I told them, okay, this is the pace papers practice, but there's no help. There's no any help. I want to create the environment of the exam. I want to create the environment what they can expect during the exam. And
Yeah.
of course, as you already know, during the exam, there is no any help.
And this episode is sponsored by Pro Club Languages at MikeEnglishOnline.com, where learning has no limits. Are you ready to take your language skills, teaching career, or professional growth to the next level? Whether you're looking to master a new language, prepare for international exams, or enhance your teaching expertise, Pro Club Languages is here to help. At MyEnglishOnline.com, we offer language learning for all levels and ages: English, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and more. English for specific purposes: business, academic, travel, and professional communication. International exams preparation: IELTS, TOEFL, CEFR, and beyond. But that's not all. If you're an educator, trainer, or aspiring teacher, we also provide workshops and seminars on pedagogy, educational psychology, motivation, classroom strategies, and innovative teaching techniques. Teacher training programs to help you stay ahead in the ever-evolving world of education. Expert insights on language acquisition, student engagement, and modern teaching methodologies. At Broad Club Languages, we don't just teach, we empower, inspire, and transform. Whether you're a student, a teacher, or a professional, we help you unlock opportunities, confidence, and success. Visit MikeEnglishOnline.com today and start your journey toward mastery, because learning is a lifelong adventure and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Ready to level up? Click the link in the description and join Pro Club Languages today.
And it's important to challenge them. Like, of course, you are as a teacher, kind of like guide them slowly with that one. You prepare them. It's as we said, you
True.
are like, it's all about preparation. It's all about the warm up. And then you start to see their evaluation, like to see their
I can
how
see I
they'll
can see that you're
outcome
a
from all
very
that.
pragmatic teacher, huh? I think you can actually
Yeah.
take your job very seriously here. I can see that you like to
Yeah.
planning and keep like a structure of a lesson like that. That's pretty good because as
Yeah.
teachers we don't have actually the exact key or the best planning for
Mhm.
everything. Everything goes according to the classrooms that we have, the students that we have. And I think your
And
experience here it's
mhm.
very important.
And I would like to thank you to mention that. Sorry for this. I would like to say this as a teacher, when I truly enjoy is definitely during the lesson time. And to be honest, doing this kind of planning, organizing stuff can be boring,
It is,
like,
it is.
but you understand it's a part of the work and all that.
Exactly.
But the value and all these kind of things that we mentioned before, it's actually in that classroom. It's built in that classroom, in that interaction with your students. There
True.
is everything over there, how you create all that. Many times I like to compare, which is kind of true, like teachers with for example, football coaches or
Yeah.
basketball coaches. You lead a group of team. In this case, you lead a group of young students, and you're their captain, right? And
True.
you train with them basically every day. Like you sometimes spend more time with them than their parents, right? This is kind of true and fact. And you lead this group, and from the very beginning. And of course, what is your goal? Of course, in the end, their goal is to have a good grade. But not
Exactly.
just that, it's more than that, right? You want them, you also influence them. You need to influence them in the positive way. You need to be a good role model, a good example for them. This
Exactly.
is all kind of things that we can connect to the sport. I'm also a sport fan and all that, to the
I can
coaches,
tell.
basketball, football coaches, or any kind of like sports over there. And for them, it's kind of like uh to accomplishment something, like to have, of course,
Exactly.
different kind of teams, they have different kind of goals. We also have different kind of goals as well as a team, what we want to achieve over there.
That's a pretty
And
good analogy over
and I
there that
want
you
to,
just
yeah,
share.
yeah, yeah, analogy, exactly. Analogy I like to use from time to time. And I like to also to mention this about the collective memory. There's another kind of very interesting kind of thing, interesting kind of teaching method, kind of like a practice, something that teachers they can do
Yes.
also. For collective memory, what is also good again for the geography, we have maps, and there is like a map skills, right? When you need to learn how to read the map because there is
True.
some kind of like a rules. For example, like symbols, like there's like legend over there, and there's a certain kind
Exactly.
of
The
symbols like
legend.
for church, for the campsite, for different kind of things over there, right? Like icons, I would like to say, yeah. And there's also the grid, right? The coordinates, like the north,
Yes.
east, right, west, south, all this kind of stuff. And we also have, like one of the topic is also about that, especially also can be for G1 and after that also for G2. And one very good practice about the collective memory can be about this. When you can separate them in two teams, or maybe it can be only one team, depends what is the size of the students that you have, and you can put the map on the wall, and they can be
Yeah.
even outside from the classroom on the where is the door. You can just put that map over there, and it can be the same map, right? But two different teams, and they kind of compete. You create competition, and they have like each person have only 1 minute or sometimes 30 seconds to go over there and to try to memorize as much as they can from that picture. And after that, they
Yeah.
need to back and they start to draw on the blank paper over there. And they go one by one, right? And then in the end, we can see what they do over there. And this is like when that metacognition also starts, when they say, okay, wow, what you will do better next time, what kind of things you will focus. And next time, what you can do, you can give them, you can separate their roles, right? And this like a thinking hat, right? When you
And
can
if
give
you
them,
do
okay,
it,
this
yeah.
person, this person will focus only on the north part of the map. This person west, east, south. This person it will only focus where is the rivers. This person it will only focus where is the vegetation, right? This person will only focus where is the settlement, right? These kind of things, and then you will see the results, and you can expect the results. It will be better than the first time when they tried that. This is a very nice example of collective memory. There's
That
many,
is
of course,
super
others.
good. That is actually super good what you're using
Yeah.
there. I really like actually the experience that you're actually showing and the experience that you're sharing with the audience. I really like actually the
Yeah.
fact that you are working a lot using pretty straight, good methodology, strategies,
Yeah.
how you actually just approach the student. That is something not all the teachers actually do, especially the new teachers, you know.
Mm.
This experience that you're sharing with us today, it's something that it's pretty much valuable. It's gold because this
Mm.
is actually a really good starting point for the teachers who are actually just starting. And this is
Yeah.
something that will help not only teachers from specific subjects, but all the subjects in general, even in languages as well.
Yeah.
All these methodologies can be implemented there as well.
Yeah.
I can tell that you get really good classes over there. I wish I could actually be in one of your classes. It sounds like you're
Oh,
having a
thank
lot
you.
of
Thank you
fun
so
over
much.
there.
Thank you for these compliments. Yeah, I think I really, yeah, you have very good questions. You guide me to think about some of these questions was really good. Some of these questions I didn't really think, but yeah, as you can see, all this is like from my heart, like how I feel.
I see it.
And passion is something that many people also describe about me. I would like to say also that
True.
yeah, passion is something that really drive me, like something really push me and encourage me to do the best as I can, and to also enjoy that current process as well. So the interesting we talk about a lot of these kind of teaching methods, but there's plenty
So
of
much
them, like
more, of course.
so much more, and some much more that I didn't still maybe discover yet. And
True.
so yeah,
I was actually
sometimes
thinking
when you
now.
think, yeah,
I was thinking now, I'm
yeah,
sorry. I was thinking just right
mm,
now, I think we were gonna have like at least around 6 episodes with you, and I would like to have you here on the show
wow,
at least for 6 more episodes because we got so much to talk about, and I think you got a lot to share. And as a teacher myself, I'm also learning from you now that you're actually talking
mm-hmm,
all of that,
mm,
implemented also in my classes and all that. It's amazing.
mm-hmm,
I gotta say, it's been an amazing time. We've had already
mm.
an hour here, and it feels like we still have to keep going. It feels like
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah,
there is so much more to talk about. So I think we can actually just make another part for this one, and immediately and right now just give you exactly the invitation for the following parts because I got more, and
yeah.
I for sure you got a lot more to share as well.
Yeah, yeah. I can see. Wow, thank you so much. This is really incredible. We just go like go with the flow. Like I also like to say that kind of stuff. And it was very natural, very good. And I can see you also come from my industry, from education as well, right?
Yes,
And you can completely understand me whatever I say about this one, and it's really enjoyable to talk with you. And yes, of course, definitely, I'm always open for these in the future. Like you said, we can do other episodes too. Uh, I don't know how is your also maybe in the future we can also do maybe some kind of like a group chat. If, can we also involve some other person as well,
of
or maybe
course
more
we
of
can do,
them?
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely create
yeah.
a whole group of teachers. As you know,
Global
in
teachers.
LinkedIn
Yeah,
there's a lot of teachers. Actually, I created
yeah.
a little network over there,
Hmm.
and it's a pleasure also to have you there and connect
Yeah.
also under
Uh,
LinkedIn, so we can actually keep the
absolutely.
conversation going. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We gotta keep going. And there's one topic that I like that I would like to discuss with you, and I'm gonna put it to you
Hmm.
right now. That's gonna be your task for the next
Hmm.
time. Metacognition.
Hmm.
I already have one episode with one of the teachers, this teacher from Ireland.
Mm.
He gave me really good things actually about metacognition there. And maybe you can also
Yeah.
help us a little bit on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. You mentioned that. Yes. So yeah, for me, it's always pleasure to share and also to hear other people what have to say about all this. It's always about like a brainstorming and all that. So yeah, this is interesting kind of topic, definitely, and something that not just for teachers, to be honest, this is for everyone. Because as we
Exactly.
said, yes, for us kind of job, it's important to teach and all that and to know about the teaching methods. But learning is important really for everyone. So that is something that, yeah, it's kind of really important kind of
Definitely.
stuff.
So I gotta say, well, until the next time, then, it was a
Yeah.
real pleasure to meet you and to talk to you about education. There are more things to talk about, and definitely we're gonna have to make a couple of others episodes here. And please don't forget to share your details later, and you can send it to me
Hmm.
so I can actually just put them in the episode so people can reach you
Hmm.
out for more.
Hmm.
Maybe they would like to
Yeah.
have some sort of like an advice from you. You can just put the
Hmm.
links. I can put your links on the description, and they can contact you, reach you out if they have any question or something like it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very nice. And I want to say also actually this as well. Mike, this is great kind of thing that you're doing with this podcast. Uh, and I think like this is really good because, like you said, you want on your platform, with this podcast, you really want to reach many teachers, especially here in China. Of course, I think your focus is here in China because in the end you live also here in China.
Exactly.
And as you know, there's so many teachers from different countries living in different cities. And I think all of them, they have some amazing stories to share. And this is
Yes,
great. This is really great. And this is something necessary for everyone. Doesn't matter about your experience. How are you just beginner or you a
true.
very experienced kind of teacher as well. So this is great. And it's a great job, really. And again, very grateful to join you. And definitely in the future, I will join you again where we can do this
I
episode by
think so.
episode, like you said, about the
Yes,
metacognition. And thank you so much that you will also put later about my information. People also can reach me out, maybe like LinkedIn profile or other stuff
exactly.
as well. Yeah.
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 So definitely thank you very much. And yes, I will be definitely send you messages for the next episodes, and we can actually have a really good conversation on the other ones. Thank you
Yeah,
very much for joining
absolutely.
us today.
Yeah. Thank you so much again, Mike, and have a pleasant night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all my audience. Thank you very much for joining us in this great episode. And I hope you really enjoy it. I hope you actually just get to understand and get to know a little bit more about this teacher, about teaching abroad. And I encourage you, all you teachers, if you want to do it better, come on. It's time to step forward. Just go, choose a place, choose a country, travel, experience, and let's keep enjoying teaching. Let's make it more enjoyable. Let's travel, let's enjoy, let's keep learning. And as I always say, keep learning, keep enjoying, and keep tuning in the Languages Pedagogy Podcast. Talk to you next time.